Welcome to Canada, the podcast that helps you prepare for your Canadian adventure with clarity and confidence. Hello, future newcomers, and welcome to your Canadian Prep Zone. You're listening to episode number 30, and it is recorded in June 2026. I'm Emma, your host and your international mobility coach. I'm here to help you prepare, plan, and thrive in your move to Canada. Today, I'd like to talk to you about immigration to Canada by covering an important topic: the difference between federal and provincial immigration programs. But before we get into the theory, let me introduce you to Sarah, Anna, and Eva. 3 different journeys, 3 different ways of thinking. Sarah focuses exclusively on federal immigration programs. She found a program she likes, and she's working incredibly hard to check every single box. Her weak point? She's completely unaware of provincial programs. In fact, she still doesn't know where she wants to settle in Canada. She tells herself that her job search will probably decide that for her. Sarah is focused only on the how to move. She's crossing her fingers and hoping her application gets approved despite the competition. But the how to stay? That's something she hasn't really thought about yet. The problem is that in any mobility, failing to choose your province strategically often means leaving your future up to chance. Anna, on the other hand, fell in love with one specific province. She did a lot of research about it and became convinced that this province perfectly matches the life she wants to build. She realized she had 2 possible ways to get there: through a federal pathway or through a provincial pathway. So she analyzed all her options to choose the one that would maximize her chances of success. She identified a provincial program that could really help her. Competition is lower there, and that could make all the difference for her application. Anna is someone who's aligned with her goals. She chose her destination and the best path to get there. But like Sarah, she focused on the how to move rather than the how to stay. Will she be able to find a job once she arrives? Will she have enough money at the end of the month to pay her bills? And finally, there's Eva. Eva is hesitating between 3 provinces that truly meet the criteria she set for her move: job opportunities, salaries, cost of living, and lifestyle. She carefully analyzed both federal and provincial programs for each of those 3 provinces. And then she had a breakthrough. She realized that one province in particular offered a program that would dramatically increase her chances of success. For her, the decision is made. It will be that province and no other. Eva didn't just look at how to move. She also looked at whether she could actually build a sustainable life there. She's strategic. She understood how to connect immigration with long-term viability. And that changes everything. All right, let's leave Sarah, Anna, and Eva for a moment and go back to some theory. In Canada, there are 2 distinct immigration levels: federal and provincial. At the federal level, you'll find programs that apply across the country except for Quebec. Even though you often have to specify a province or territory in your immigration application, the province itself is not the central focus of the process. This is the case, for example, with permanent residence through express entry or temporary residence through the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, Francophone Mobility, or International Experience Canada. Now, let's switch gears and move to the provincial level. Provincial programs are designed specifically for one province. Whether it's the OINP in Ontario, the AAIP in Alberta, or the BCPNP in British Columbia, every province has its own rules, streams, and eligibility criteria. Once you cross a provincial border, everything changes. And that everything changes doesn't apply only to immigration. It also applies to the job market, salaries, rent prices, career opportunities, and even your everyday quality of life. A quick side note. Quebec is the province with the highest level of autonomy when it comes to immigration. Most federal programs, such as Express Entry or Francophone Mobility, do not apply there. For Quebec, going through the provincial system is almost unavoidable. Now, there are two key things you should always keep in mind if you choose the provincial route. A provincial nomination does not replace the federal process. Instead of one step, you now have two. Yes, fees can be slightly higher and processing times can sometimes be longer. But what is also true is that these provincial pathways are often less crowded. Competition tends to be lower, and that can become your greatest advantage. Second thing to keep in mind, if a province selects you, it's because it wants you to contribute to its local economy and community. This is not just a formality. It's the foundation of the agreement. Moving to another province during your first months could potentially be viewed as misrepresentation and put your immigration status at risk. That's why choosing your province must be a thoughtful decision from the very beginning. You need to choose a place where you can genuinely see yourself living in the medium and long term. So, what does all of this mean for you? You basically have three possible strategies. Do what Sarah does. Choose the federal program first and the province afterward, even if it means facing a few surprises along the way. Do what Anna does. Choose the province first, then find the best immigration pathway to get there, federal or provincial. Or do what Eva does. Compare several provinces, evaluate their viability in terms of employment and budget, and then let your immigration opportunities guide your final destination. In other words, look for the best compromise. Honestly, it's often this third approach that creates the strongest projects, the ones that are viable not only administratively, but also financially and professionally. I know what you think. Right now, you may feel like the hardest part is getting your visa approved. But what if the hardest part is actually building a sustainable life once you arrive? Shouldn't that be something you think about right from the start? As you can see, immigration and province choice are deeply connected. The real question you need to ask yourself is this: what matters most to you? Maximizing your chances of moving to Canada and getting your immigration permit? Maximizing your chances of successfully building a life once you're there? Or both? At the end of the day, what do you really want? Simply to move to Canada or to successfully build a life there too? Here's my opinion, and I'll be very direct about it. An immigration permit is just an entry ticket, but a strategically chosen province is what allows you to build a stable life once you arrive. Both matter, but the choice of province deserves real attention. Because a province is much more than an administrative destination. It's your future rent payment, your next job, your everyday lifestyle. It's the difference between simply arriving in Canada and actually succeeding in your new life here. And that's exactly why I offer coaching sessions specifically focused on choosing the right province. Together, we don't just look at one aspect of your project, like immigration. We go much deeper than that. We discuss about employment offers, unemployment rates, salaries, housing, budgeting, and long-term stability. Because successfully moving to Canada is great. But if you can't stay afterward because you can't find a job or can't make ends meet, then what was the point of all those efforts? Be strategic. Give yourself the means to move to Canada, but also give yourself the means to stay. Now, let me give you 3 takeaways from this episode. First takeaway: choosing between a federal and a provincial immigration program should never be taken lightly. Each pathway comes with its own advantages, constraints, and opportunities, depending on your profile, your profession, and your life goals. Second takeaway: succeeding in your immigration journey is not just about getting a permit. The real challenge is building a stable life once you arrive. Finding a job, managing your budget, maintaining a good quality of life, and seeing yourself staying there long term. Third takeaway: choosing your province is a major strategic decision. A good province is not just one that opens the doors to Canada. It's one that truly gives you the means to stay and succeed in your new life. And I can help you with that. I have a full training module dedicated to this topic, designed to help you make clearer and more confident decisions. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening until the end. Thinking about immigrating to Canada but feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or pulled in too many directions? Book a coaching session with me today and let's turn your Canadian dream into a real plan. Link in the show notes.